Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well, and welcome back to another series where we're going to be learning about Eloquent querying the relationships. Now, I got this suggestion from JS Dope. We requested, can I make a crowd operations using the relationship in detail? Thanks in advance. And yes, so basically this is what I'm doing. If you guys will probably like this, then you guys can give it a like, and then I know if I can continue. So basically, I'm going to start with a one-to-one relationship, and then I'm going to move to the different relationships, and basically we're going to query the relationships. Right? As we basically got a fictional company called Joe's Workshop. We created the logo, just a simple logo for it, and basically admin can log in like this and with a password. So admins can log in. So then we'll get to the admin dashboard. So we can just log out again. And then if we log in again, we can log in as a customer at example.com and log in as a customer, password. Now, when you log in as a customer, obviously you can see we got our Jetstream dashboard right there, but this is not what I'm going to change. Now, if you go to bookings, the customer can create a booking. As you can see, this customer already created a booking. So if they want to create another one, they can say you already have a booking. All right, so basically that's kind of the setup we have. So customers get directed to their own window and admins to their own. So let me just show you the setup. Well, let me make it a bit bigger for you guys. All right, so if we go to our models, the models we have, we've got a booking model. And inside the model, we also obviously got our fillables right there. And then we've got our relationship set up between our user and our model. So basically, as we're going to start off with a one-to-one relationship. But before we get to the relationship part, I just want to show you the authentication part of the process. All right, we've got a user. We've got a is customer, is a supervisor, or is admin. And then obviously the relationship right here. Now, basically, it just returns if it's a customer or if it's a supervisor and if it's an admin. Now, the self-admin, this is just PHP stuff. I created three constants. So basically, a customer with the ID of 1, a supervisor, and an admin. All right, and obviously protect the table under the users. All right, so the public function type, basically this just return the type of relationship, but this is just a method that we call here, that if we say that method is equal to the customer of self, it basically returns just an integer, 1 or 2, and then basically call that method in here. Now I'll explain all of this in detail in our upcoming series where we do the ticket system, where we're going to use more or less the same setup. This is just for now. I won't explain it in too much detail. So basically this is more or less our setup. Then inside our policies, we created a policy to say if the user is an admin. So basically if the user is admin or if the user is supervisor, this is basically our admin policies. All right, so under our providers, what we have done under Fortify, we actually created a different login response. But I want to go to the AuthServiceProvider first. And this is basically where we register our policies. All right, our user class and our user policy. So this is basically just the introduction to what everything is. So in case someone might ask questions, how did I set it up? Right, the next one is, then we basically bind a login contract. Basically, this is your login response from Fortify, the contract. We're just extending that contract. If we go to our ATP, you will get a response. Our login response right here is basically we extend, basically implements the contract response. Basically that response. So now we're just extending it. So if the user is admin, that method that we created inside our models of is admin, then we just redirect them to their own route. Otherwise, just go to the Fortify home route. Okay. And under the kernel, we didn't register any new verifications here, middleware, but we did create our own middleware called isAdmins. I'm just going to use the middleware as is. I'm not going to, you can register it in the kernel. So basically just import it at the top and you call it isAdmins, but you don't have to. You can basically just call the class itself, okay, in your controller. The next thing that we did is obviously we've got our policies that I just shown you. Under the service provider, we brought in our policy right there. All good stuff. Right, the next part in our routes, I created 2 routes. We got our web routes right here. All right, where we bring in the customer. I'm going to explain this in a little bit more detail later. Where we bring in our home controller. Then we obviously created a route group for our customers' bookings, and obviously our default one that comes with Jetstream right there. Then on here, we just require the admin routes. Now, the admin routes is basically the routes right here where we bring in all the admin stuff. Okay, so we bring in making a route group, prefix as admin, dashboard controller for the index, so admin.index. And then obviously the admin's bookings right here. Now, all of these things will basically just be a build up. So every relationship we will just build up onto the next one. All right. Now, and then the next thing that we did is in our database under migrations right here, we got our normal migrations that comes with Jetstream installation, Laravel Jetstream. And then we will have our bookings. Now, under booking schema, we will have our car model, a car license, and a string of booking date, and then obviously our user foreign ID key right there and the timestamps. Okay, so that's basically what I've done. So I created a bookings model with its migrations. So you guys must know more or less how to do this by now. Okay, and yes. So the next thing that I want to do is, like I said, the one-to-one relationship. So what I've done is, under app models, we've got our user model and our booking model. So let me just open those 2 models up for you. Right. So this is more or less the introduction / one-to-one relationship, because it doesn't require too many explanation in the one-to-one relationship. All right. So in the next one, if you guys have more questions, I can actually just explain them in the next video. So if you guys do like the video or anything like that, let me know if you must continue the series or not. Then you guys can just give me feedback in the comment section. All right. So let's continue. Okay. Our user basically belongs to a booking. Basically a user has one booking. And a booking belongs to a user. I have the one-to-one relationship right here. So you guys, if you remember if you watch the Eloquent series, this will make sense, because in the first lesson, we've discussed this in more detail. All right. So we've got our booking class right here and our booking like here. All right. So basically, how do we call on this relationship in our controller? Okay. So let's go to our controller. So under my controllers, I got an admin folder. I got an admin folder for booking controller and a dashboard controller. Then I got a customer folder for the booking controller. So this is the folder that I'm talking about. Okay. So in this controller, basically we return the class authenticate, or you could have just made it like, that's why I said you don't have to register actually the auth inside your kernel middleware. All right. So you can actually do it like this, but I just imported the class like that because I'm going to use the class isAdmin class as well when we get to the different controllers for the admins. All right. So basically the one-to-one relationship, basically we can find a booking through the user because the user has one booking. So basically what I've done is I basically user, and then we find auth, okay, ID. So basically the user that's logged in. Then we take the auth with the ID. So basically taking the user's ID. That's just a short notation. Basically you could have said like this. You could have done auth.user.id. You could have done it like this, but auth ID actually does the same thing. So it's just a shortened notation. So we can actually find that auth through the booking. That has one to belongs to one relationship. So we got it like that. Okay. And basically then we return that variable inside our view right here. Okay. So then we go to the view. So customer.index right here. So inside that, basically, I created our views folder right here. We got a customer folder and we got an admin folder. So the admin got its bookings and the dashboard, and then the customer got its bookings right here. So we can obviously add another folder for the dashboard right here. Okay, for now. All right, so in the bookings, we got our bookings right here, and we obviously return that booking. So basically what I've done now inside that, I said if there is a booking, or you could have said if it's not a booking, or if it's empty, or anything like that, but I prefer to use it like this. You can use it however you want, just to check if basically the booking is not empty, or if there is something, all right, or it's not null. All right, you could have done that. And basically then we return basically that customer's booking. All right. And if there is nothing, so if this turns out to be true, then it goes here. If it's not true, then it basically returns like you have no bookings. Okay, so then we basically go to the view itself like here. So let me show you that again. Okay, let me log in as a customer again quickly. Customer at example.com. Now, as you can see, we return that booking right there. Right. So let me delete this and just created a booking from scratch. All right. So refresh it. So basically now it returns you have no bookings. So if we go to the create method, the customer can now basically choose which date they want to create the booking. So let's just choose today. And the model, I'm just going to use the Mazda again. The license plate H4, I don't know. Let's just use an example. 665 H. Oh, okay. Let's create the booking. All right. So now we created the booking right here. So a customer can have one booking, and a booking belongs to a customer. All right. So as you can see, they cannot create a new booking. So all good stuff. All right. So that's quite a lot of information to take in. All right, so what we've done with the store method is basically we've just validated, so the car model, then that, and then we did the booking create, the user ID. We're basically going to get the auth ID, then the car model, and then a booking. And then obviously we redirect to the customer.index with the success metrics, booking successfully created. All right, so that's basically, I know this one is going to be a little bit more about the background of the things, and there's not too much to talk about one-to-one relationships, but in the coming ones we will have more queries if you guys like what I'm doing right here. So if obviously it all depends on the feedback. Okay, so if we continue the series. Right, so if you guys like it, please give it a like. And if you want me to continue this, please let me know in the comment section. And if you want me to explain a little bit more of what I've done here, I can explain it in the next lesson. But when it comes to the authentication part, so if we go to the app models user, so this part right here, authentications and the relationship setup and all that kind of stuff, I will explain this in more detail in my ticket system, where we're actually going to build a ticket system from scratch. Now, as you can see in our users model, the only thing that I updated with the default installation is basically a small integer with a type. So the type basically says, listen, if it's admin, supervisor, and stuff like that. All right. So that's all for me for now. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you didn't like it, please give it a dislike. I don't want to make the video too long, as I don't want to waste your guys' time. And yes, the only thing for the has-one relationship is basically this part right here. Okay, but obviously we can, as we go on, we can obviously expand a little bit more on querying relations with Eloquent, where especially the one-to-many, there's a little bit more queries that we can do. And then obviously in our bookings, we can actually expand on the queries. All right. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.